Hi guys, welcome to the first video on my YouTube channel. I'm Lorenza and I'm a property investor specialising in serviced accommodation in the Midlands. Today I'm hoping to teach you all more about the potential returns you could receive from adopting a serviced accommodation investment strategy. So when you buy an asset, there are 4 profit levers. Profit lever number 1 is discount. Number 2, cash flow. Profit lever number 3 is equity growth, so capital appreciation. And the final one is the ability to refinance, which only works if number 2 and 3 are at the table. So if you have good cash flow, you can put your rents up, and if you have good equity growth. And this gives you the ability to refinance your property, release money and buy more properties. And in any deal, you ideally want all 4 to be at the table. In the case of a rent to serviced accommodation strategy, you're creating awesome cash flow, so 10k per annum per property. So it's a really good strategy for building funds fast. Although you can't achieve the others, as the discount, the equity growth and the ability to refinance belongs to the landlord. So let's say that you buy 3 properties to run as serviced accommodation at 100k each. Let's see how much you could be earning from these over the next 40 years. Let's take a look at the maths. So if we start with profit lever number 1, discount, let's assume we're getting on. I mean, always try for discount, but it is just better to get on with it, get in the game and buy at full price if you can't afford to get it for discount. So we now have 3 properties earning us 10k per annum, but actually if you own these, the mortgage payments are cheaper than the rent, so it's more like 12k per annum. And if we times this by 3, that's £36,000 profit per annum from your 3 SA properties that you own. And then if you times the 36 by 40, so for the 40 years, you'll make £1,440,000 cash flow if you run these as SA properties for the next 40 years. And then moving on to equity growth. So let's say these properties were 100k each. On average over time, property prices double every 8 years, but let's say 10 years for easy numbers. So what will it be worth in the next 10 years if it doubles? Well, the houses were worth 300k in total, so it will go up to 600k, and then the next 10 years it will be 1.2 million between the 3. And people say, surely it's not going to quadruple over the next 20 to 25 years. Well, I say think back to when you or your parents owned a house 20 to 25 years ago and how much the price has increased. And that's just what happens in the market. So carrying on from 1.2 million, 10 years after that, 2.4, and then 4.8 million pounds. So that means over the next 40 years, if you got those houses for £300,000, they are now at 4.8 million pounds. You've had 4.5 million pounds of equity growth. So then your cash flow plus your equity growth leaves you at £5.9 million over the next 40 years. And we haven't even finished there. There's one final profit lever, which is the refinancing. So if you start with 3 houses now, it triples every 10 years without you having to put another penny in. So in 10 years time, we'll have 9, 10 years after that, 27, 10 years after that, 81. Then finally 10 years after that, we'll have 243 properties. And let's just assume, we're rubbish at this and that I've overestimated the equity growth. And so say that's 2.25 million. So 2.25 million plus 1.4, let's be cautious still and say 3.5 million. So I've halved it. And if we get half as many houses as well, we'll end up with 60 houses. So 3.5 million was for 3. So I'll round it down to £1 million per house. So 60 lots of £1 million. So we're going to be making £60 million over the next 40 years. That averages out to £1.5 million per year. And how much money did we actually need to start with? We needed 3 lots of 40k. And you can literally raise this money. Go and find one person with 120k sat in the bank or 3 people with 40k, and you could be making £60 million over the next 40 years. So you can just see here how much you can make from a serviced accommodation strategy. And I've done those numbers down. I've quartered the refinance ability and half the equity growth. So I could argue you could actually achieve 8 times the result if you implemented with precision. The cash flow is good as it is, but you're also getting the ability to refinance and the equity growth. And that's really where the profit is. So I hope this video has been a useful overview of the kinds of profits that you can actually make adopting this property investment strategy. And now you have the motivation to go and make it happen. And if you want to follow my property investment journey, definitely give me a follow on my Instagram, Lorenza Daniela Properties. And I'm actually now looking for landlords who would like to avoid Section 24 tax and claim extra tax breaks on their buy-to-lets, and also investors looking to get a great return on their money. So if this sounds like you or anyone you know, please do get in touch. And if you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you all the best on your property investment journey.